This week, I'm back in LA. So we remember that old, tired, non-running 190 SL I was brought in to rescue from my friend Dan last year. The brakes were locked up, I fitted new carburetors, a new starter motor, rebuilt the entire braking system. I set about detailing that dirty old engine bay. I moved on to the suspension, the gear linkages. Then when all was looking bright and dandy, I moved on to that shabby interior as well as replacing the carpets. And after most things had been addressed, despite the car running well and looking rather smart, close up it was clear the car was in desperate need of a respray, freshening up that tired old paint job last done in the 1970s. Now, the last thing I did before flying home on my last visit was to remove these pitted door chromes for refurbishment. So on my return back to the UK, I sent them straight over to my preferred chrome platers, Douglas Chrome, or Ashford Chrome as they're also known. And now, 6 weeks later, before the return flight back to LA, I'm dropping in to pick them up and also check out their new premises. Hi Paul.
How we doing, Gary? All right? Nice to see you again.
Yeah, so you're going to show me new premises, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sorry I'm late, by the way.
That's all right. This is all inspection. Your bits are over here, actually. Your two
This
trims.
is a lot neater than the other place, isn't it?
It's a lot better, isn't it? Yeah. It's nicer. Bits of carbon.
It's sort of become like a coal mine, hasn't it? The last place.
There's your two trims.
Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, and there was one of these missing, wasn't there?
That's
on the other one.
That's on the other one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you happy with them?
Yeah.
There you go. That'll finish that off.
Didn't need a lot of work.
No, they're pretty straightforward, to be honest with you.
Well, show me round anyway.
Yeah, so this is all inspection. So it's not only automotive we do, we've got, you know, taps, gold-plated taps.
Oh, yeah. Do you do a lot of this, or is this...
We do quite a bit for the bathroom industry as well. You know, electrical, medical, automotive. So we do a real mixed bag of industries we serve, you know. Lots of bathroom stuff, more automotive stuff waiting to be inspected.
Well, them door handles look nice.
Yeah.
What, waiting to be inspected by me?
No, not by you. These have been inspected, they're just waiting to be packed. Yeah, they've been through the whole process now.
Yeah, very nice. What are they off?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Stuff that's been packed.
Wow.
And this whole shop next door is completely dedicated to automotive, actually. This is where Bishop works. You met Bishop?
Yeah.
So this is his final inspection going on here.
And what does he just look for, pinholes or any imperfections?
So yeah, this is it now. It gives them a nice polish, a wax, wraps them up, that's job done.
What happens if there's a few imperfections? Is it simple, it's just stripped and you start again, or what?
We avoid that. So we get as far as we can on the copper stage. Final polish, final inspection, and at that stage, if you're happy, then you
rather than have to go backwards
exactly.
and do it again, yeah.
And then, you know, you can see the sort of the quality we're striving for. And it's just more of the same, really. More parts waiting to be inspected, parts packed waiting to be collected. And that's
They're
just
not familiar then. E-type Jaguar or something?
I don't think they're E-type. No, I know the E-type. I don't think they're E-type. I don't know.
People screaming out at the screen now going, "You stupid, the suds, the suds."
I've seen so many of them, I just lose track of what's what. Bishop's office is in there.
Oh, he's got his own office.
He's got his own office. He's got up in the
State
world.
of him.
These are parts that have been booked in, photographed, and now, as you can see, all ready for stripping and the first stage polishing and whatever.
It's all the different stages,
That's
yeah?
all the different stages,
Stripping.
yeah.
Copper.
Yeah. So we're going from that to that. That's what we're striving for.
And how's the shop floor now?
Yeah, it's all good, all functioning.
I was impressed with all your drainage and
Yeah,
all the stuff that was under the grated floor.
That's right. Well, when we moved, 3 or 4, well, it's probably 4 or 5 weeks, Sean came over here, laid all the new floor.
Yeah.
So that whole area now is bunded. It's a polypropylene floor, completely bunded. So if there's any spillages, it's all captured. So all the plumbing is all underneath that, you know. This is the final copper stage we talk about.
Yeah.
Now they're off a Jag Mark II.
So beautiful lot, isn't it?
So yeah, so we get them to that's final copper. So now, you know, they've had a good inspection and they're ready to go for nickel and chrome now.
What's this, Paul? 2 hours, nickel and chrome.
He wants a little bit more nickel on that one.
Yeah.
Usually they would get about an hour with the nickel.
Yeah.
This particular bumper, Bishop, for whatever reason, it's got a defect somewhere that he wants to try and smooth out, and he's going to use the nickel to do that.
Not too bad inside though, do they?
They all get sandblasted, so they'll be clean. No
Yeah.
rust, no nothing. Plenty of copper on there to seal it up.
They're going to look amazing, them, aren't
They
they?
will do, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but I wouldn't like to see us built. But it is an expensive do, isn't it, Paul?
It's not cheap. It's not
You know,
cheap.
when you think about it, there's not many of you guys still about, is there? Because all the rules and regulations have changed. It's all got to be environmentally friendly. You've got to have all the licenses. So it's a tough deal, isn't it, really?
It's a tough deal, yeah.
Plus all your bills have quadrupled.
I mean, you know, you can imagine what it costs to open the doors of this every day. You know, chemicals are always going up. You know?
Yeah, and ping pong balls are expensive as well, aren't they?
They're fortunes. You've seen what goes into, you know, restoring a bumper of that size, that nature. It's a hell of a lot of work. And yeah, there are fewer and fewer about it. That's not really the reason. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then we've got bits over here that are, again, all various stages. So that's first stage polishing. That's them going, that's ready for the copper now.
Yeah.
All these parts have been coppered and are waiting for their final polish, which is what you saw over there.
Still got the big bruiser waiting for you.
Nicky's still in there, and we've still got Steve. That's him prepping bumpers for the copper.
Yeah, there he is, there's the main man.
There he is. He's trying to think, who is that?
And he still hasn't had a shower.
No.
It's 5 years, isn't it?
No wash. But yeah, he's alright, he's cracking on.
Heavy work, thirsty work, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll be straight down the boozer after doing that all day long.
I don't think Steve even drinks, to be honest with you.
I might try him to drink in my hand. There he is. He's had a shave. Come on, you getting in? How's it going, Sean?
Good, you alright?
Yeah, happy with the new premises?
Very happy, yeah.
You work a lot better, do they?
Yeah, much better.
It looks a lot more
Much
organised.
more efficient. Yeah, much nicer and cleaner.
It is, isn't it? It's all...
Much better environment.
Yeah.
This is what you were talking about earlier, Gary, the Mazak we were talking about.
Yeah.
And we can get really good results from them.
Yeah.
And if we do find pits, we fill them, you know.
And what you fill them with?
Just a bit of soft solder.
Yeah.
Plugs it up
Like
and
silver solder, is that?
yeah, and then they go in the copper, and you just carry on smoothing it out until you get the result you want.
All right, Paul. Well, look, let you get on, yeah?
Thanks very much, Gary.
Top man as always, and I'll go and grab me chrome and sort it out, yeah?
Let's do it, okay?
Yeah. With that done, it's next over to Steve at HB Body to sort that paint.
I need something to go for the colour.
Oh, yeah.
No, seriously.
No, that's all I've got. It's where,
No.
it's where the jack goes into the... It's the only thing I could take off the car, Steve, sorry.
Right, so I need three.
Fingers crossed.
I need 3 green lights. Oh, come on, come on.
2.
Oh, got it. Got it. You are so lucky. If you look at the 2 different colours there,
Yeah.
what it's actually come up with is the first, but we've got a colour correction system on there, which the machine's actually saying this is the closest possible match we can possibly get.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to go with. Looking at the colour chip, it's not a million miles away, considering that was painted in
the 70s, whatever, yeah.
70 something. But the corrected version will get it even closer. So we'll click on that, and hopefully we'll be somewhere near.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right, all I need now is a tin and get your colour mixed up, and we'll take it from there.
Now, I know all this seems a little bit rushed and a bit last minute, but if I don't get organised before I go over there, you know the score. I'll just end up driving around for days on end getting things sorted.
Happy?
Yeah, very happy.
Can I go home now?
Yeah, you can go on now, Steve. Thanks very much, mate.
You're welcome, mate. You're
And
welcome.
I'll look after it and
Yeah, let
hopefully
me know you get
top
on.
job. Yeah.
Keep in
Appreciate
touch.
it again. I
Yeah.
love this stuff. I use this
Oh,
on
well,
everything.
950.
Yeah, the 950.
Right, my boss has said about giving you 951, which is it's virtually the same, but it's just got more elasticity to
Yeah,
it. It's a big word,
yeah.
isn't it? Elasticity.
I'm
So-
happy enough with this, but
But
whatever,
that's
I'll
what I
try
said
that
to
in
him.
the
You've used
future.
950 before, so that's what I was going to give you.
Yeah.
Because you know it.
Yeah.
Top man. Thanks again, Steve.
So after an 11-hour flight, it's straight in at the deep end and let's get stuck in. Now, as you can see here, this chrome strip has been pop riveted into the wing. I mean, I'm not quite sure, but I think these should have been screwed originally. So I'm drilling them out with a blunt drill bit, and then when I fit the new ones, I'm going to replace them with screws. Okay, so we just got back from Vintage Euro Parts. You remember I fitted the 2 front engine mounts on the 190. I've just bought the rear ones because the problem I had when I drove the car after fitting the front mounts and I did the rubbers on the rear suspension, remember on the springs, there was like a whirring noise when I put the car into third. It just felt like the transmission was really rough and like it was kind of under stress in some way. So I've bitten the bullet, or Dan has, and got the rear 3 mounts as well. Because if you imagine, the rear suspension has gone up an inch and the front where the engine is has gone up an inch. So in the centre where the transmission is, it's probably straining it. I've also taken the liberty of getting this for the front of the prop shaft as well, because these are famous for ripping. When I did my Pagoda up years ago, I mean, all these, it went through all these, I should have known really. And I did know, but I'm just trying to do it without breaking the bank. I mean, the last 2 were 150 bucks, this is another 450 bucks, so 700 bucks, you know, just to do the mounts on the engine and the transmission. But it's got to be done. If you cut corners, you just hit major problems further down the line. I also managed to get a rear exhaust hanger, and this is original equipment, which is, you know, I was lucky to get. And that's the hanger for the rear box and all the bits that go with it, because that's decided to snap as well and disintegrate. So once again, work cut out, but I'll feel like I've completed the job now instead of just doing it by halves. Anyway, let's crack on. Now this exhaust hanger seems like a strange Neanderthal contraption. You can see like the steel sleeves that go through the rubber, and the bolt goes through one into the exhaust and then up here. And the top bolt goes through the metal sleeve and bolts straight into the chassis. Okay, so I'm just looking at these rear engine mounts. There's one here and there's one there. And when I've come to look and replace the rear engine mount, or the gearbox mount as they call it, it isn't here. It's non-existent. Now here's the new one. So you can see how it goes, right? It slides over the bolts here at the back of the gearbox, and then here you've got bolts that go in and through there. Now you can see it's 1.5 inches dropped. Because I put the new engine mounts on the front of the engine, it's kinked the gearbox back and basically dropped it by 1.5 inches, and that's why I could hear the noise on the transmission when it was changing. So this, where the hell has that gone? The gearbox mount is completely missing. I'm astonished how the car is even driven without it. And it drove perfectly until I put them new mounts in. Hey ho, so I have to find some new bolts for this, and jack this up and get it all in place, and then I'll renew these rear mounts as well. Astonishing. Now these rear mounts should be fitted with like a dust cover or an oil cover which goes over the top of them to prevent like gearbox oil rotting them over the years, but these were on back order and I just couldn't wait around. So anyway, I haven't fitted them. Now this is another thing you need to watch out for. Once your mounts have been fitted, double check this hole here, because this gear selector which comes through it has to be perfectly in the middle, otherwise you're going to hit problems. I just want to show you this. This is the original bolt that should be used, and I'll show you the one that I had. This is the one that was fitted to the last engine mount I took off. Look at the difference. See, that's how thick the engine mount is, and with all the spacers and everything else, that's the correct bolt. Look at the thickness as well. I mean, don't know what that is. Straight in the bin. Also, I've been reading up on these for some unknown reason. In 1956, which was only a few years into production, Mercedes-Benz decided to omit this from the design. And now I don't know whether they thought, you know, 4 engine mounts was enough for, you know, to reduce the vibration and carry the engine and everything to have a smooth ride. But then reading all the blogs and the different threads of 190 SL owners, they say that when this is fitted, it just improves the ride no end. So, you know, probably against a lot of people's wishes, or, you know, I'm not meant to do this. But yeah, seeing as I've got it, I've got a brand new one. I've got all the bolts and washers. Look at the size of that thick washer there. It's like, what, 10, 12 millimeters. And I know that when it's all fitted, it was as the car was originally designed to be. You see, people tend to suffer with vibration in these engines, but it's normally when they've got the big manifold. You'll notice I haven't got the Solex carbs on this. It's fitted with Webers. So they've kind of done away with the big manifold, the big air duct, which normally knocks against the bulkhead, if you like. When the engine mounts go thinner and wear out and crush a little bit, it starts knocking and you get vibration, and, you know, it's not the most comfortable ride. So hopefully anyway, with all the fresh, 4 fresh engine mounts and the rear gearbox mounts, with all the correct washers and spacers and everything else, this should give the ride as it was meant to be when it was originally designed back in the 50s. Okay, as I said, let's crack on. Now, just before I embark on the arduous task of doing all the repairs and prepping the paint, I've decided to remove both the doors and do inside the door shuts. It's one of those tricky, time-consuming, pain-in-the-arse jobs that's invariably overlooked because it's a horrible job, especially if you're on your own. You know, these doors are heavy with the glass and the mechanisms inside. It's no wonder people don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. But I know it's something that just has to be done if you're going to do a proper job. Because in my mind, there's nothing worse than opening the door of a mint car to see the horribleness inside the door shuts. It's just something that really lets the car down. I mean, just look at the state of that. Quick trip to the paint shop to pick up all the supplies like papers and solvents and everything else I needed to do the job. I also took the liberty of getting a couple of aerosols with 2-pack paint in the colour of the car, because it was just going to be a nightmare trying to get the gun inside the little tight spaces, you know, to do inside the door shuts. So an aerosol worked perfectly. The only problem with this was I had just 8 hours. Because it's mixed with a hardener, after 8 hours it just turns to jelly. So it was like Cinderella. And then it's off with the boot, and you can distinctly see where the car's been read in a past life. And then it was on with the day of repairs. I think there's about 100 in all. And then check and double check. get rid of all that dust, well, as much as I can. Then after the entire car was flattened down and panel wiped, then it was time to mix the paint. And one should never underestimate the amount of work that goes into preparing a dust-filled environment before commencing a paint job. I mean, just masking up the boot, the bonnet, the door shuts, the underneath of the car, you know, the whole garage could take up to an entire day. Now, the first thing I always like to do, I like to blow over all my repairs, I like to do all my door shuts and paint all the edges, just so I'm working on a level playing field and I can get a nice even coverage. No easy task when you're working in an area that's not even big enough to swing a cat. And then when I finally apply the paint, I normally go for a light coat, followed by 3 even heavy coats. When I'm happy with that, I'm going to leave it to go off and give the Jag some needed attention. I remember last time I was here, there was a warning light that came on the dash like an engine management light, and I realised that the plastic cover that goes to the throttle body was split and pulling in air. So I brought one from the UK and let's get it fitted. Well, that was easy enough, or so I thought. Okay, so I've replaced this and I've taken it out for a drive, and for some reason the car went into limp mode, so I pulled into a garage just up the road. They put all the tests on it, all the codes came up correct, you couldn't find anything wrong with it. I've just got it back, and you know when a penny drops and you think, I brought this over in my suitcase, I wonder there's like a t-shirt or, you know, some object got stuck up there because it's on the curve. I mean, what are the chances of that? A pair of socks. It was stuck right in the throttle body, so it couldn't open or close. No wonder it was driving around at 15 miles an hour. So, yeah. So 2 days later, when the paint's nice and hard, now the real work begins. So I'm just ready to give the boot its first cut. I've gone right through the papers, 800, then 1,000, then 1,200, then 1,500, 2,000, then I've finished off with the 3,000 Trizac. So it's pretty involved, as you can understand. I've got the 3M stuff, which I think is probably one of the best. I'm going to start with that. This is its first cut, and then I'm going to move on to a Maguire's 83, which is like a cleaning cut, a weaker cut than this it is. And then I'm going to finish off with the 3M's Finesse. This is the third stage, and then I'll treat it to a wax, and it should look $1 million then. As you can see, it isn't the best environment to be painting in. There's a lot of dust everywhere. I didn't really have an extractor fan, so I think I've done the best I could possibly do in the situation in a bad environment, really. So anyway, the proof is in the pudding, so I'll crack on and give it its first cut. So I'm just going to use a bit of water. I'll just do half and then I'll do the other half. Probably using a little bit more than I should be using. And I'll rub the compound round. All nice and covered. And then away we go. Now I'm going to start off on just speed 3. And then when it gets up to speed and I've got, you know, the product basically nice and even, I'll turn it right up to 6. It's nice and easy. Keep it moving. If you don't keep it moving, you could burn through your paint. So just be careful. And watch your edges as well. These edges, if you go too far, you can just, you know, it'll take the edge clean off. You just go up to the edges like that. Then I'm going to turn it up now. Move it a little bit quicker. Let's have a look at that. That was just its first cut. Give it a little light buff. As I said, I'll go through the 3 stages. The first cut, then the second clean, and then I'll finish off with the 3M's Finesse, and then give it a nice wax, and it should look the business. See how we go, eh? Now for this cut, you'll see I'm using a much smaller head on the polisher. I just think it gives better results. You see I'm using a different rag for each polish I use so that there's no cross-contamination. Look at that. That's coming on. Now I suppose it's up to the individual how much work they want to put in, but I reckon the longer you spend, the better the results. But with that said, you could easily set aside around 30 hours to do the job properly. That's 3 days' work. Now look at that, you can see the difference in the front of the car that's been done and the rest of it that's still dull. And once I've finished going through all the stages with the palm sander, I always like to finish off with some warm soapy water and some 2000 3M's paper and do it by hand, going over all the edges and the entire body, which almost leaves like a shiny finish by the time you're done. And only then do we start the polishing process. And then I take a little bit of time out to pop up to Vintage Euro Parts in Santa Clarita to have a look at their projects they've got on the go, and also to pick up a few supplies.
What's up, Gary?
Great, so this is the eyebrow chromes, yeah?
So we got our eyebrow, chrome trim.
See these? Oh yeah.
All 4 in the box.
Yeah. Oh yeah, perfect. That'll finish the job up nicely. And these are the
And these are going to be the rocker panel trim.
sills, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. See, mine are all bent, so
Yeah.
it's just going to finish the paint job off nicely. Oh, and this is the felt for the window.
That's the felt for the windows.
Top man. Brilliant. Okay, let's settle up the important bit. Top man.
Yeah, no problem, Gary. Thanks a
Thanks
lot,
very
man.
much.
I really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Don't forget
me
the felt.
Cheers. You
All right,
take
man.
care now.
You
All
take
the
it
best.
easy. Thanks a lot.
It's always a pleasure seeing Nelson. Then it's back to the ranch. Okay, I just want to show you this. This is one of the door chromes that I got done at Douglas Chrome Finishes, Ashford Chrome in London. Look at that, it's absolutely beautiful. And with the new paint, I think it'll just finish the car off. Now, this is one of the chrome sill covers. If we just close in on that. See the way it's all scratched, all misshapen, all bends, kinks. I mean, look at that. It's terrible. All bent. So, I've bitten the bullet, or Dan's bitten the bullet, and okay, it's cost like $1,000. It's the full set of chrome that goes under the eyebrows. These are the sill covers. I'll just take one out to show you. Now look at that. That's going to just make the paintwork pop. See the difference? It's all dull and marked and bent. And look at that. It's just worth doing. If you want the car right, it's worth just biting the bullet and just finishing it off properly. Yeah, straight as a die. Let's crack on. Get stuck in. Nothing's cheap on these cars. Now another job on the list was to put some backing on those brand new carpets which were sliding about and bunching up like you wouldn't believe. So I've improvised and I've used Dan's yoga mat, which I've never seen him use anyway. So I knew it would come in handy. Just don't tell him, eh? Quick drive around the block to make sure those gears select properly. All feels good. Voila. See what I mean? Those door shuts look well. You know, as I look around this car, it's amazing to think how far this car's come since, what, half a dozen visits ago last year? It's incredible. Carpets look well. But even with the efforts I put in over this last couple of weeks, which included quite a few late nights, I still didn't quite get finished. There's the inside of the boot to paint, there's seals to be fitted, there's the electrics to be done, and the underneath to be painted. So, in the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. Thank you for watching this episode of Classic Obsession. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you all next time.